Hey folks, welcome to the office hour for Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022. Happy Groundhog Day, everybody. I don't know if the beaver saw its shadow or not, but yeah, regardless, still feels like winter. I imagine it feels like winter in a lot of places. So hopefully you all are staying warm and healthy and safe and all that stuff. So right now nobody has any particular questions about anything in the material. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start off by going over how you can hide things like passwords and secret keys, API keys, among other things. Yeah, so well, actually, let me answer the question chat before going. Once a project's deployed, if changes are made on your Git repo, how do you update those changes on the server? What would have to happen is that you would have to pull the repo again in your server. You would have to pull the repo every time you make changes, so you can have to fetch it or something like that. And you may if you want to do it if you want to automate, you would have to do some kind of a cron job or something. A cron job is basically where you schedule a task to run a certain number of times, or like maybe at a specific time. So that's a cron job. That's CRON job. So that would be how you can pull the latest changes in the repo over to your project. That would be how you would do that. You would need to basically pull the repo, and then you could, if you want to do it manually, you can, or you could set up a cron job to basically automatically fetch the latest changes. Like if you want to do it like once a day or twice a day, or how often you need to do it. So to answer your question about how to pull the latest stuff. Good question, Alex. So yeah, so that would be how you would do it, and how you would do it. At least that would be one way to do it. So cool. Any other questions actually before we go ahead and proceed with the demo for hiding keys? Okay, then we'll go ahead and get started then. So you might be wondering, well, why would we want to hide a key? Well, let's imagine this. If you want to post your project publicly on GitHub or some other site, you don't want people to know about passwords or any other keys that identify your application. Otherwise, somebody can just go and say, hey, I can get into this person's project. That'd be kind of bad, Oh, here's the password. I'll just use this to hack into someone's database and then hack into the database and do some bad things. That's bad as well. So you might be wondering, well, how can we make it so that we don't have to worry about that? Well, let me start off by sharing my screen here. I'm going to show you a page here if I could find it first. Give me a moment here. I thought I had it already here. Here it is. Okay, I just want to find the page. Okay, perfect. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here, and we'll take a look together here. So what you're looking at right now is this page called Hiding API Keys. And this doesn't just apply to API keys. This applies to any keys or anything that involves sensitive data. So it is in the Python section. If you go to the AJAX module, and you go down to AJAX plus Flask, it will be in this section where you see hiding API keys. So that's where we're going to go here to help us navigate this. Again, this applies for anything. So what we're going to do first is we need to create what's called a .env file. A .env file is used to hold what called environmental variables. And these could be anything, be system variables, secret keys, passwords, whatever you want, or anything that's sensitive, honestly. Now, here's one important thing to note. When you push a project to GitHub like this, do not push the .env file. Don't push it. Otherwise, that's basically like saying, hey, here are my password and stuff. Come on in. That's a bad idea. So we're going to first of all need to create .env file. So let me first get started here by going to the project we're working on this week, where we're tying AJAX to this wait a minute, wrong folder. Hang on, I gotta find it. Here it is. Wrong folder. There it is. Okay, so here's the AJAX project we're working on this week, where we're basically gonna have like a single route that's gonna show all the teams. We can edit a team, view a team, all in the same route. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into this Flask app folder here, And the first thing you're going to want to do here is, well, not inside the Flask app folder, inside the project folder. On the same level as your server PY file and your Flask app folder, you're going to create what's called a .env file. And so we just do a right click here on the folder and select new file, and then just type .env. You'll probably notice this little cog on the icon on the left, or this gear icon here. That basically means it's an env file. So what can we put in an env file? What you can put in an env file is any sensitive data. So the way you would do this is you would do like a variable name equals a value. And that's the general syntax here for saving values. So this could be a number, a string, whatever you want. So the general convention is that the name of the variable is in all caps. That's the general convention when we use env files here, when we define variables there. So you might be wondering, well, how can we use this? Well, if you remember here, going inside the app folder, we have an init file here. This init file has a secret key, and the secret key is what we need to use session variables, or if you want to display like validation messages as well. So flash messages, you would need a secret key as well. But you don't want to show this key like this, you know? You don't want people looking at it, say, ooh, here's the secret key, I can get in, yay. No, just no. So you might be wondering, well, how can we hide this? Well, what we can do here is we're going to take this key here. I'm just going to copy. I'm going to remove it from the init file in a minute. I'm just going to paste it here, and I'm going to change the name of this. Just pick a good name, the API secret key or whatever you. Not API, a Flask secret key. I can't type. Well, something along those lines here. So now you might be wondering, well, what do we do with this? Well, let me show you what we're going to do next here. So next thing we're going to do here is we need to install a brand new package for our project, and it's called python-env. So this is the name of the package that's going to basically handle environmental variables for our project. And so we're going to go back in here. Now I'm going to have to get into the folder, of course. So let's see, that is in December 2021, January 2022. Let's see, that's in lectures week 8. And we went to AJAX. I think it was the startup demo. I'm going to rename that, but anyway. Okay, so a little note here. When you're just checking to see what files and folders are in your or at the current folder, let me rephrase that. When you're at the current spot, when you want to take a look at what folders and files you have, sometimes certain files won't show up at all. You'll notice here it has Flask app, pip file.lock, but there's no .env file. So you might be wondering, well, how can we list it? One way you can do that is by doing ls and then add this option -a or -a, and this will show everything, not just the folders and files you see here, but additional stuff. So watch this. Same folders, same files, except there's a couple other things. It's just deal with like where we're going to go next, essentially. And then you see this .env file. So this just goes to show that we do have the env file where it should be, which is on the same level as your server file and the same level as your Flask app folder here. So now that we have that ready to go here, we need to install that package again. So let's go ahead and get that installed here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure your virtual environment is activated first. You have to activate it first. So since we already have packages installed here, we'll just do pip env shell. We'll give it a moment here while this loads, and there it is. And now that we're ready to go, we can now install additional packages for this project. So the package name, again, just to show you, is this python.env. I can't talk right now. Python-.env. Say that 20 times in a row. So we're going to install a package now. Let me get this out of the way here. There we go. Python. Pip env install python-env. So this is going to create we're going to install this package for this project now. So this is going to take hopefully not more than a few seconds here. So let's see. Should be just about done here momentarily here. Okay, perfect. Looks like it ran successfully. If you want to check to see what packages are installed in your project, there's a couple ways you can do that. One of them is by checking these two files out, pip file and pip_file.log. You can just check these to make sure you have your packages here. So here we have Python, PyMySQL and Flask. And then you also notice this Python-.env package. So that has been installed successfully. So looks like we're good here. And if another way you can check is to do pip graph while your virtual environment is activated. What this will do here is that it'll list all the packages you have. Oh, wait a minute. Pip-env graph. I think it's pip-env graph. There we go. So another way you could do is by typing pip-env graph here. I'm going to make this bigger so you all see this. Pip-env graph basically lists the packages you have installed. So you got Flask, PyMySQL, and Python-env. So we have our packages in there, so that looks good. So it looks like we're fine here. So I'll go ahead and close this file off here because we don't need this anymore. And now you might be wondering, well, how are we going to get this secret key into this init, the init file here? So you might be wondering, well, how are we going to get this key in here? So the way we're going to do this here is I'm going to show you on the platform here once again. We're going to have this command. We to import a new package or module called OS. Stands for operating systems, you might imagine here. And so what we're going to do now here is we're going to import this in our init file. So I'll show you that right now here. So let's see, here we go. So inside the init file, we're going to import OS, and this is for loading values from .env files. And now what we're going to do here is I want to call to your attention here, this part here. So let me just type this out one bit at a time, and I'll explain this as I go here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start by typing OS for that module name. And so if you're curious here, you might notice all its outputs. You might notice its output here. Let me type it out. OS routines for into your POSIX, depending on what system. Basically operating system stuff essentially. And then if we press dot here, the one in question we're going to use is environment for environmental variable stuff. And then now what we can do here is we can use this get. So actually, you know what I'm going to do here? Well, actually, I'll test it out here, but I want to show you something here. So we're going to call in this get method here. And then inside the parentheses, we're going to put the name of the environmental variable, which in this case is called Flask secret key. So I'll copy and paste this here. And just to show you that we are grabbing the key, I'm going to add a print statement here. So I'm going to take this, copy that, and I'm putting inside this print statement just to show you that we are getting the value of that key here. And while we're at it, you know what I'm going to also do? I just hope this doesn't get anything too sensitive. We'll find out. I'll put something else here as well. So let's give it a go and see what happens. So if the project runs normally, it means we got our secret key loaded in successfully. If it didn't, however, we have to change our code somewhere. So let's go ahead and test this out now. So let's run our server here. Well, it's there, but you can see, you might notice all this output here. All this output here is basically a dictionary here. And that's all I'm going to say about that here. So this is all just a big dictionary here. So os.environment so this is a variable or an attribute, and that it's just a list of important values among other things here. So we just need to grab one specific key. In this case, it's this key, Flask secret key. And I think if you take a look, so it's somewhere here. Oh, here it is. There's the secret key. There's other values in there as well. you know, but we only care about that secret key, and that's what the .get method's doing. So just let me just clear this out here so we don't get distracted here. Clear that. Okay. So once again, os.environment is basically an attribute of the OS class, essentially, where we basically have a dictionary, and then the .get method just gets the value of a key in the dictionary. And so that's what this is doing here. Let me comment this out here. Actually, no, I'll keep it uncommented out. I'll run this again, and I want to show you this thing here. So that thing is the value of the secret key we have here. Cool, huh? So now we don't have any errors here, so it looks like we're good to go. And just to double check here, let's go ahead and open up localhost and just make sure it still runs like normal. Yay, seems to work just fine, yippee. So our project has loaded and looks like it's working just fine here. So just to summarize how to make an env file and how you can put in secret keys and read them. So let me just recap that. Whoops, not that. Right. So just to recap here, the first thing you want to do is create a .env file that's on the same level as your Flask app folder and your server.py file here. So this is the .env file. If you're creating a GitHub repo, make sure this file is in a make sure that file is listed in like a git ignore file, because you don't want to upload an env file. That is very bad. So once you make the env file, you can basically put any key value pairs here, where this is the name of the key, or any key you should use uppercase letters. And then here's the value you can save in there. So once you have that in, you have to make sure you install a package called python-.env, because that's going to manage our environmental variables here. And then once you have that installed here, you go to whatever you need to read a key. So for instance, the init file, because we need the secret key here. We need to, anytime you have to import a environmental variable, you must import this module called OS. And then you can just use os.environment.get to get the value linked to that key. You can use that to see fit. So does anybody have any questions about how we create the env file, how we manage to grab this value or anything of the sort? Cool. So I believe you asked Alex about how you could hide a password here. So this will be a good time to demonstrate this actually. So let's go to the config file. So in the config file, in the config folder in the under the MySQL connection file, there's this field called password. When you upload this thing, you don't want people seeing a password necessarily, especially if you're applying this, you know. So we can do basically the same thing here. What we can do here is we can add some code to this file. So we're going to import OS to allow us to load the password in this case. And that means we'll have to go inside here and we're just going to create a new key. So let's just say SQL password or whatever you want to call this equals. I'm going to change this to a different password here just to test it out. Intentionally change that just to make sure. And then in the MySQL connection file, we're going to do the same thing we did in the init file. So we're going to do the exact same thing here. So I'm just going to copy that. And then I'm going to replace this with, instead of Flask secret key, this is going to be SQL password. Like this. And now let's give it a try. And if this works correctly, this should actually give us an error, and that's intentional. And that's and if you wonder what this message means, it basically means you didn't enter the correct password usually. So when we see access denied, that just means the password wasn't entered correctly. Okay, let's go ahead and use the correct password now. So let's just change this to what I've been using, root. And now we shouldn't have to change this in line 12 here. And now let's load this again. And did I not save something? Let's check. Did I not save? Huh. How I was supposed to work here. Well, I mean, for my case, it's just root. In a Mac, it might be root or a different password. So I don't think that's the problem here. So I'm wondering if I spelled this correctly here. Let me just copy and paste this again. Weird. I'll tell you what, let me try something. Let me do a print statement here. Let me just print this and just see if it actually gets the correct value in the first place. That would be a good idea. So let's try this again. Well, right now it works. Okay. And there's the password, you know. Then we'll run the query. So it seems like it went through okay. Maybe it just need time to refresh or something. I don't know. Okay. Let me just refresh that page one more time. Looks like we're okay. Let's just double check here. Let's see that's right now. Run query. Okay, cool. Looks like it's working now. So that would be how you can hide your password, so that if you were to upload this project to GitHub, you wouldn't actually reveal the password itself, which would be bad news. So that would be how you would hide the password in that sense. So if you were to deploy a project to like AWS or some other place, you would have to create the env file again, I believe, yourself. So you would have to redefine that file from scratch here. So that's a little bit of a minor inconvenience, but I think it's well worth it when you consider the security implications. You don't want to just leave the password in plain sight, you know, for someone to access your SQL database, and then you can imagine how bad that can get. Cool. So I hope that answers your question about how we can hide the password itself. And remember, you're not just limited to password. You can always, you know, change this if you set up a different username, or you can just use a different username there. You could do the same thing here. You could create a key that basically represents the name of the user for your SQL database. So when we need to access it, you just put that in here, and you do the same thing. So you could do the same thing for the users. Here you do like SQL user instead of SQL password, whatever you want to call it, the environmental key. So there you go here. So I hope that answers your question, Alex, about about one way you could hide the password here. Cool, good to hear that answer. You bet. So does anybody else have any questions about how we use the env file and how we can load the values of keys like this? Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, cool. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about anything that's not from an exam? So I give you folks a chance to ask. Okay, very well then. So I'll tell you what we'll do here in the last half hour then. Would anybody like to see how we can use an API for a project? Would anybody like to see that in action? Okay, then we'll go ahead and do that right now then. So I don't know if we have time to finish this, but luckily I have most of the code already written out. So if I have to find myself copy and pasting, apologies for that. But we only have 30 minutes, so this is gonna be pretty quick. And I actually have a lecture video from when I taught this before, where I go over this in more detail. So I'll tell you what we'll do here. Let me go ahead and open the browser. And I want to show you this little link here. So what you see here is this api.nasa.gov here. So this is just one site you can use for an API. And there's a ton of them out there. Like Google Maps is an API. Oh, by the way, so for those of you wondering what API stands for, it stands for, I believe, application programming interface. So what API is used for is that an API is used for two machines to communicate with each other, to send data back and forth. Maybe you want to fetch some data, maybe you want to send some data. And I'm not sure if they still use web fundamentals or not. Was there like a Pokemon API assignment there in web fundamentals? I don't know if they still use that or not. Anybody remember? Anybody know or remember? Yeah, use it as an example. So it's basically kind of the same idea. So like we're using the Pokemon API, we basically have a link where we can grab data for some a Pokemon or whatever, you know. You do the same thing for Google Maps. You could use their API to load a map for your site. You can do motivational quotes. The list goes on and on. Maybe you could fetch some restaurants from Yelp or reviews or anything else you wish. So APIs are used to send data between machines, as I said. And the beautiful thing about it is that the two machines don't necessarily have to be the same language. Maybe one machine is running stuff primarily in Python for its backend. Maybe another machine is running its stuff through Java or a JavaScript or C# or some other language. But almost every language, and perhaps every language, has a way of reading what's called JSON data. J stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And what JSON is basically just a dictionary. It looks the same as a dictionary in Python or an object in JavaScript. So with the curly braces like this, you know, here's a curly brace, put some key here, some key, and a value here. Hope you can read my cursive. But anyway, that is basically what a JSON object is. It's just a dictionary essentially. So when you use an API, it's important to read the documentation to make sure you understand how to use it. Now, one other thing that is very common is that you will need to usually make an API key in order to use a site's API, period. And there may be a limit to how many requests you can make for the API. Maybe you're allowed to request 100 times a day or 10,000 times a day or whatever, you know. So you do have to pay attention to rate limits. So some of them are free, some of them require you to pay money. So I'll leave it to which ones you like. I picked this one because this one's free, luckily, and be nice to maybe view some images. Like I'm sure, I mean, who doesn't like space, you know, viewing these beautiful images of outer space, especially with the James Webb Telescope that was launched not long ago. Hopefully we'll get some great images in the next few months. Be something to look forward to. Anyway, so the one in question we're going to use here, I'm gonna find it here. Actually, before I go here, again, this is where you want to read this to make sure that if there's a limit that you don't go past the limit. So here, maybe 1,000 requests per hour, for example, you know, or there's these other limits, like if you use the demo key, you'd be limited by these here. Hourly limit 30 per hour or 50 per day, you know. So there's a bunch of different APIs we can use here. Not sure if anybody has a particular preference here, but let's see here. So let's just go with this one, I guess. So for those of you who remember me before, you've probably already seen this, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. You can do the same thing for basically any of these. So here's an image. This is a beautiful image. Beautiful image, huh? So you might be wondering, well, how can we actually maybe grab an image, you know? So the way this will work is that you will need to use some JavaScript again, so some AJAX again, like we started doing with in Monday's lecture here. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do this here. So the first thing we're going to need here is we're going to need to use this new module called request, which will allow us to grab data from an API here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to need to define a route that handles the API request here. So here's one they have here, for example, that says, okay, when we go into this route, we're going to fetch some data, we're going to send, and then we're going to return some kind of response. So remember the JSONify deal here is basically returning a response with the data. So it's not just the raw data itself, it's actually returning a response because we need to return some sort of an HTML response back. So, but first, however, it'd be nice to implement some kind of a form for this here. So we're going to use AJAX to basically make the site a little dynamic here. Let's see here. Again, we're probably not going to have time to finish this only because of time constraints here, but I can at least get you started here. Okay, so what we're going to do first here is we're going to have to install that package here. So let me go, let's go back, whoops, not here. Let's go back here to the, oh yeah, here we go, let me get out of this. So we need to install that package here. So pip env install request. And this is the package that's going to allow us to read APIs, send data through APIs, and so on and so forth here. So we'll go ahead and install that now. Of course, just remember to have the virtual environment activate, which it already is. So this will take just a moment here. Maybe while I'll do that here, we'll just take a quick look at the documentation here. So what we have here is we're going to need some kind of a form here to basically submit the data because we need to grab it based on some sort of condition here. So going back to the API here, let me show you something here. So when you look at the API here, pay attention to all these things here. So for example here, here's what we're gonna do here, and this is an example here. Here's a link, and then you'll notice this API key here after the question mark. So let me explain what this is doing here. So you remember GET request is basically just grabbing data from another site or grabbing a route data from a router or anything along those lines. Like you click a button, you click a link, or you type in a link in the browser. That's a GET request. We're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna get data from this site here which is an API. So you might be wondering, well, how do query parameters work? Let me explain how they work here. The way it works here is that query parameter works like this. Let me just type this out in general here. So you type a link. So this is any link dot domain name or any link.com. And then this is where things get interesting here. At the end of the link here, you have to add what's called a question mark here. So you have the question mark here, and then after that is any set of key value pairs you want. So the way that works, that you do like date equals, let's say 2022, 0115, count, like that, for example. So this is a query parameter for this route. So this is your parameter or your key, and this is your value. So it goes after the question mark symbol here, and then you just type in parameter equals value, whatever that value is. And you can actually do multiple parameters if you need to. So you could do something like this, and I'll just give you another example here. Link.com, count equals 10, and start equals 30. So this is how you can use multiple query parameters for the same link here. So here is one set of query parameters where you do count equals 10. So we define something called 10 here for the count, and then we have another variable called start when we give it a value 30. And then you just use the ampersand symbol here, that's this symbol here, to basically connect these query pairs here. So you can have as many of these things as you want here. And maybe I'll just do another demonstration by just going to Google here. Let me just go to Google right now. So I'm going to do some search like NASA. So I want to show you something here. In this link, you see this part here? That part here is a query parameter that basically represents, I believe, what you wish to enter, although maybe this is what does it, but it doesn't really matter. here that much. Notice here, notice how we have an ampersand here connecting these two parameters. Notice the, let me clear this out here. Notice the question mark here after the word search. So we've basically gone to the search route here on Google, and we have done it, conducted a search where we search for NASA. And so everything after the question mark is a query parameter. So here's one query parameter, ampersand here, a second query parameter, another ampersand here, another one's a very long one, I'm not sure what that means. Probably something to do browser. Another one here. Here's another query parameter, another ampersand, and here's another one here. So what you see here are 5 query parameters just for this route search alone here. So that is what, so that's what query parameters are for, and it allows us to basically search or use APIs in a very specific way. Maybe you want to grab Pokemon, but maybe you only want to grab like 2 Pokemon, or Pokemon whose ID is this, and maybe you want to specify the size of the image you want to retrieve, you know, anything like that. So before we start diving into some more code here, does anybody have any questions about APIs in general, how you use them, or what query parameters are, or anything like that?
Are all APIs safe to use? Like, I feel like we're not really downloading anything, but like, are they secure, or like, is there a source that we can verify them with?
Oh, that's a good question about security here. That's a good question. One thing you can do here to ensure that at least hopefully the one quick check you can do here is take a look at this route. You see that HTTPS? The S stands for secured, so that means the site is encrypted. So that usually means it's secure more often than not. So that's a very fast check. I'm not sure if there's like another good way you can check to see if an API is secure or not, other than just checking this route and make sure it says HTTPS. But that's like a fast check. I'm not sure if there's like another good check for that, but I know when I say HTTPS, you can feel a little more secure because they use a hopefully high level of encryption, make sure the data is secure from their end. So that answers your question. It's probably not the best answer, but that's probably the best I can give you.
Yeah, but it's a quick one. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Cool, you bet. Any other questions about APIs and before we dive into it? Cool. So what we're going to need to do here is we're going to have to, well, we're going to need to actually grab an image here, and that's going to require us to use this link and then specify some kind of a date here. So going back to the platform here, you're going to need some kind of a form here where you can basically specify your parameters for how you want to conduct your search. And you don't even have to use a form. You could use your own set of values as well. Maybe you just want to grab an image for today, you know. But the ideas can be the same. The important thing you're going to really want here is just to be able to grab the data. Is really right here. So I don't think, if it's okay with you folks, I'm going to skip the form part here and this thing. So I'm going to skip these 2 things if that's okay with you folks, and just go straight to like reading an image. Is that okay? Just to save time here. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that then. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to define a new page here just to speed things along here. So I'm going to make a new HTML page, and we're just going to grab an image. And that's it. That's all we're going to do here. So now we're going to have to make a new page here. So I'll create a new file here, API demo.html here. So I'll just put this in here quickly, and let's see, let me add some Bootstrap while we're at it here. So I'll just copy this quickly. There we go. API demo. So there we go here. So now what we can do here is we can basically, let's take a look here how they did this here. So what we need to do here is we need to import this we need to import two things here. One of them is that new package we just installed called request that allows us to grab data from a site through an API. And the other one's OS, which is for all secret key here. Now, I already have a secret key here. I just got to copy and paste it here. So let me just copy and paste that quickly here. So I'm going to put that in the END file now. So here's the API key we're going to use here for our demonstration here. So there's our API key. So now we're going to go into, we're going to have to go to our routes here. So I'm just going to create a new controller here just quickly. So I'm going to create a new file just fast here. And this is going to be like API demo.py. Again, I know that's not following the normal conventions I've been using here, but just to speed things along here, I'm just going to do this here. So let's see here. Let me just do some copy and pasting here. I'm just going to copy this. So we're not going to really need to, we don't really need to import these models here, just speed things along here. So let's define a route here. Grab nest. So I'll just call it API demo here. So let's say I'll just call it API demo here. So we need to import requests. Can we do? Yeah, we can. I was gonna say we can import the packages in one line. There we go. So now what we're gonna do here is we're going to basically use this method request.get here, and then we're going to have to make the argument inside the get method is the link itself here. So I'm going to just copy that part only. And let's make some changes to this, however. So we have to follow the order they want this in NASA's site. So that link is this link called API NASA.gov planetary, all that stuff here. And we're going to go back here and just put this link in here. And now here's where we need to do a couple of things here. We need to put the API key in here. So we need the API key. That's the very first thing we need here. So we'll put that in here now, and it is called API key. So we have to call it that exact name, API key here. So we will go ahead and cut this out for a moment. Put the question mark here to begin putting our key value pairs here for our query. So API key equals, and then we need an F string here because we need to put in the value of the API key itself from the env file. So os.environ.get, and the key we called it is NASA API key. So we'll put this in here, and then in here and then let's go ahead and just specify a date here. So let's just say yesterday. So yesterday was the 1st of February. So I'll put an and here. Date equals, using the format here, it was year, month, day in that order with hyphens. So this is going to be 2022 0201. You do need the zeros, I believe. We'll close that string off here, and then we just save this in a variable. So we'll just use R just to be consistent here. So now that we have that here, we need to convert this data here to we need to convert the data to a JSON here, just so it looks readable. So this is going to convert to a JSON object here because you're getting a response back actually. The way that gets us a response, so we need to create an object or a dictionary, take your pick. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this in a variable here, image info, I guess, equals r.json. So convert response to JSON here. I'll put this thing just so you see what it looks like. And then we're going to do a render template here. And I'm just going to put the name of that file here, which was, what was it again? API demo. HTML. Whoops, it might help if I put a return here, wouldn't it? There we go. Return render template. I guess we don't need these at the moment here. There's something wrong here. Why is this thing going crazy? Oh, I know why. You know why? Because of the quotes. Oh, that's the problem. There we go. because you have double quotes here and a single double quotes here. So we treat it as if it was this one string, then something else, then another string. Okay, that's why we got that. Okay, so we're not gonna load any images yet. I just want to show you what happens when we go to this route here. So let me restart the server here. I'm going to go to API demo here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, you know why? Would anybody like to speculate as to why we got this error? Anybody take a guess? Well, why can't we access this route? We defined it here. Can anybody tell me why? Bingo, that's it, Carlos. You're exactly right. We forgot to import that controller. So that was the API demo here. It was API demo. Yes, yes, cool. So I've got to import. Whoopsies. Okay, so right now there's nothing in here. That's supposed to happen because we didn't put anything in there yet. We're going to in a minute. What I will show you, however, is this response here. So I hope you all see it's okay. See this big dictionary here? Or object, JSON object, take your pick. See all that messy text here? So basically, when you grab data, you usually gonna get in this JSON format where you have these key value pairs, like here's today's date, here's the explanation, but it's a long explanation. There it is. Media type video. Oh, it's a video. Wow. I thought it was gonna be an image, not video. Okay. I was expecting an image, not a video. So that's gonna make things kind of interesting. I was hoping to grab an image, not a video. I'll tell you what we'll do though. Actually, wait, let's go back here. We need this URL here because we need to know where we're getting the file from or video from. So let's go with a different date here. So let's change this to the day before. And now what we're going to do here is I'm going to put this image link variable in here, and I'm going to do image info dot, I'm sorry, no, not that, fault URL. So we're going to send the URL only here just to see if it works. And then we're going to go to the demo here, and we'll just use an image tag here. Source equals, what was this called again? It was called image link. I can't close this. Here we go. There we go. Okay, let's get this another go and see if it works. Ooh, pretty, huh? Pretty. Yay. Awesome. Awesome. Very nice then. So here's this again here, and here's some information here. This image is by Roberto Columbar, if I pronounce that correctly, from the 31st. Here's the explanation. So it is and there's that URL here. There's the URL, there's the image link here. Cool, huh? So that's how you can use an API here. You just have to basically import the request module for you have to install the request package for your project here. And then you would just have to grab the image or grab the data by using requests here. Let me go back here. You just have to use this request.get method, and then you just put in the link you need. Just remember to have your key value pairs like this, and then just grab the data you need and send it off. You can add forms. You could do JavaScript as well. You can do a lot of other things here, but hopefully this is at least a basic, a good first order example when it comes to demonstrating APIs here. Cool, huh? So there is our image here, looking good. So there you go. Did there any questions? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, do we have to have a different file for each API that we use, or we can use one API file for everything?
You can use as many. You can use you can have as many API keys and env files you need, and you can use you can have as many requests as necessary in a single route. So you can make multiple requests if you need to.
Oh, cool. Okay, that works. Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions? Okay, cool. We'll go ahead and take a break here. We'll stop the recording here, then we'll resume for the lecture in about 5 minutes here. So I hope that was a good demonstration of hiding keys and how you can use APIs here. So you can use an API for your own project. Okay, perfect. I will go ahead and pause recording here, and I'll see you all in just a few minutes then. Meanwhile, I'll get my daily tea. If I could find the pause. There we go. See you in just. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final lecture in this Python stack. It is Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022 here. Can you believe it? We're at the end of the 8 weeks. Unbelievable, huh? Hope you've all taken away a lot of good things from these 8 weeks here. I know I'm going to miss you folks who will be moving forward to the next stack, whether it will be Java, Mern, or projects and algorithms here. It was great. It's been an honor working with you all, honestly. I know it's been kind of rough at times, especially with like the 2-week break and because the holiday break here, and that might threw the cadence off a bit, but I hope you all managed to get through this okay. So I do want to make a couple announcements here before we dive into the rest of the material for today here. The first announcement is that I will be sending emails in the next day or two. It's basically a survey email. It's file track survey email. So please find some time to fill it out, because we want to hear from you all, regardless of if you're here in person or watching the video. We want to hear from you to make sure and just check to see how we're doing here. What are things that you like? What are things we can do better? What are things I can do better? Because I know I'm not perfect. Who's perfect anyway? Anybody who says it's perfect is probably lying, or more than likely lying. I know I'm not perfect. So we want to make sure, we want to improve the experience for you all. So please take your time to fill the survey out, because we want to improve the learning experience for you all, and it's not perfect by any means. We want to do better, truly. Okay. I know I have some changes planned for the next time I teach the stack here that I'm going to implement thanks to your feedback. So I definitely listen to your feedback. A couple other announcements here. Today is the last day to hand in assignments and discussion topics. If you haven't done so, remember you need 15 core assignments, which you should have already satisfied before you've taken the exam anyway. And also make sure you have at least 13 discussion topics done. They will close in a few hours from the time this lecture video is recorded. So by 11 p.m. Pacific, Wednesday night, which is tonight. So if you haven't done your discussion topics and you need to get them in, please fill them out. It doesn't matter if you're moving on or not. You still need 13 discussion topics done, regardless of if you're moving on to the next stack or retaking this one. You must have at least 13 discussion topics done. Okay. One other thing is that the GitHub repo we've been using, I'm going to set that to private after probably mid to late day Friday. So if you need anything from that repo, please feel free to clone it or save anything you want by midday Friday Pacific. Now, because I'm going to create a brand new repo for the next class I'll be teaching. Okay. Let's see, anything else I need to announce? I think that's about it for the big announcements. So does anybody have any questions about anything period before we dive into the AJAX demo again? Okay then. So today's lecture, we're going to continue our AJAX demo here. So in Monday's lecture, we basically have made the site somewhat responsive in the sense that when you click a button, we're going to display all the teams one fell swoop, because we basically just manipulate the HTML. Well, we're going to do the same thing for viewing a team and editing or even deleting a team. I don't know how many of those we're going to get done today, but we'll get through as many of those as we can within the hour. And I don't want to go over 1 hour here. Okay, so with that being said here, let me go ahead and let me get a couple things ready here. Actually, let me close this out, clear this. Okay, perfect. We're ready to go. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen then. Here we go. So in the off-self, for those that just came in, we just did a demonstration of APIs and hiding secret keys, API keys, passwords, and stuff like that. It might be something handy to know if you ever find yourself deploying a project. But anyway, getting back to the matter at hand here, let me go ahead and restart the server. I've already got it activated here, so I'll just start the server right now. And now what I'm going to do here is, by the way, that's just me printing the secret key just to make sure that's working. Okay, let me go back here to localhost 5000, go back to the Teams file here. So right now, this is what we built out so far here. You don't pay attention to this nav bar at the top here. So remember from Monday, we clicked this button, view all teams, and we managed to just grab all the teams in one fell swoop, just like that. What we're going to do now here is we're going to focus on, we're going to start off by just making sure we can view a team one at a time. So what happens that when either button's clicked, all this information down here disappears, and then it gets replaced with the relevant information we want. So maybe we want to show all the teams like we just did here, or maybe we want all the information about one team here. So I'll go ahead and start off by adding a drop down here that's going to list all teams. And then the moment we click one is the moment or the moment we click one and press submit is the moment we change the data you see down here underneath those buttons. So we're going to go ahead and implement a form right now to basically just select the team. So that part shouldn't be too crazy here. So let's go ahead and go back to the Teams controller here. And here is, which one? This one here. So here we're grabbing all the teams here already. Now what we're going to do though is we've already have this query made out here. So we may as well just use this. We're going to use this to just load the teams from the get-go here. I guess you could argue we could also show that table as well, but I just want to demonstrate how you could just show that information from the start. So let's go ahead and go back to this HTML file here. So let's see, here it is. So right now, we have basically just a couple buttons here, but we're going to change this in a minute here. So the thing we're going to change now here is inside this div, we're going to create a form here. So we're going to create, we're going to create a form here. And then, and now this is where things get interesting here. Normally, what we've been doing is that we have to specify an action and method equals post, right? Well, we're going to do this in a bit of a different way, however. If you remember how you have an on-click event for when you click a link, we're going to do something, we're going to do something similar for submitting a form. So we have, so it's just like how you have an event called on-click, we have an event called on-submit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create this on-submit here, and then I'm going to create this function which we're going to define in our JavaScript file in a minute, and I'll just call it grab one team here, and we'll put some other stuff in here in a bit. You might be wondering, well, wait a minute, what's method equals post or any other stuff? Hang tight. I'll explain that in a bit. We are going to, however, need to do a drop down here. And you know what I'm going to do actually here? Let's see here. No, actually, I'll keep it. I was debating whether to make this dynamic or not, but I'll just leave it as it is here. So, let me think here. Well, let's imagine this scenario here. If you were to add a team, though, we want to make sure we list that team here. So you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to create a div here that has, and I'm going to call it like listed teams. At first glance, you're going to think, well, wait a minute, why do we going to need a div here? It'll come in handy if we were to add a new team down the road, and then we decide, oh, okay, we want to make sure we show all those teams, including the one that's just been added, if we were to add a team, you know. Again, we're probably not got time to implement that, but it would be something to think about. Just like how we have a div here, an empty div here to show the data for all the teams, or just one team, or something else. We're gonna do something similar here. So this is going to be a list of all the teams. So right now, we're going to go ahead and just put this loop in here. So going back here, we have a variable called all teams that we passed in here. So we'll utilize that right now. So I'll say for team and all teams here. We'll end the loop here, and you know what? We do need a select tag here before the loop here. Select name equals team ID or something. We'll just, and then I gotta put this closing tag after the loop here because inside will be each option. So option, and then the value is just gonna be the ID of the team. So I'll just put team.id here. And then in between here, we're just gonna put the team name. So team dot, what was it again? Team dot, where is it? Team model, because I have a terrible memory. Team model, what do I call those again? City and name, okay, cool. So team.city, team.name, and then we need to submit, of course. So I type submit, or button tag, whatever you want here. Value equals select team. And let me just get rid of this thing here. Okay, let's save this, just make sure we don't have any problems here. Let's refresh this. Okay. Okay, so there are teams listed here, and if we click the button, it shows that. Okay, so now we want to make it so that when one of these teams is selected, and when we click this button here, we're going to show the information for that team down here. So let me go ahead and open up Inspect here and show you the console here. So right now, not much is happening yet. If I click this, get this little error, you might see that little error message pop up for a split second here. And that's because we didn't define that function I just rolled out here. We're going to do that right now. So the function itself is this thing here. So we're going to put this in here. And now what we're going to do here is I'm going to actually add this thing here, E, which basically is, you'll see what it does in a minute here, so hang tight. Let's go back to the JavaScript file and define this method here, this function called grab one team here. So let's see, where was it? Here it is. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Grab one team. Again, that's a little bit of preview of more, and you're curious. Just as a quick reminder here, let me see here. So actually not a reminder, because some of you might be seeing this for the first time. If you go to the AJAX section here in the platform, you go to consuming APIs of Flask in the AJAX plus Flask section. We're doing basically something similar to this here, where we have a form here, and then we have a submit event, and then we're passing in some data about the event here, essentially. And that's what this E thing is for here. And so we're going to create a function similar to this. Now what happens is that the HTML, whenever you click a button, is going to have its own set of behavior that's usually not desirable. It's basically on very archaic behavior. So we want to customize this behavior to do what we want it to do. So we're going to add this line e.prevent default. In fact, I'm just going to copy all this here. Now explain what each part is doing here as we go. So the first thing here is we need to grab the form itself here. So let's go ahead and let me find it here. Let's see, where is it here? Oh, right. Oh, not this one, sorry, not this one. Let me just close that off. Okay, here we go. So here's this grab one team method we've just written out here. Let me just put that like that. Okay, so this is the grab one team method here. And now what we're going to do here is we're going to basically grab this. So we do need an ID for this form. So ID equals find team, I guess, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to use the same ID here so we can grab this form. And now what we're going to do here is this form data is basically going to create a set of key value pairs that represent our form here. And then this next part here is basically going to determine which route we're going to use here to grab the data here. So here's where we're going to use method equals post here. So we're not going to use it actually here in this form tag. We're going to do it in this line here when we're grabbing the data for that relevant team here, and then we're going to manipulate the HTML in a moment. So we're going to need to create a new route that will basically grab this one team and return it back. So we have something similar, but we're going to do something a little different here. So going back to the teams, or is it going back to the teams controller here? Going back here, we need to add another route here. So grab one team. So I'm going to put this in here. Get one team AJAX. And because this is a post request, we do have to put this in here. And I'm going to talk about other types of request methods actually later on, and you're going to learn about these more if you take the Java or Learn stacks actually. But I just want to give you a taste of those other methods in a bit. For now, however, get one team AJAX because I'm not very good at naming. All right. So our route's called give one team AJAX, which means in the JavaScript file we got to change this part here. And we're going to do some stuff here in a minute. But for now, however, we're basically kind of doing the same things we've done before here. We're basically just going to grab the teams here. So let's go ahead and, well, we're going to grab one team. So one team equals team.team. And I think we're going to have to define a new method in our team model here for the AJAX demo here. I could find it here. Here we go. Demo, grab one team. So the query itself is not that bad. We do, however, have to create a dictionary. So we do need a data dictionary because we do need to put this in where ID equals this. So we do need a data dictionary. And then we're just going to directly return what we get essentially here. In this case, I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to write this in a bit of a I'm going to write this in a bit of a weird way here. So I'm going to do result action. I'm going to do just like before. I'm going to do this here, but we need the data dictionary in here. So I'll put that in the control in just a moment. But here, however, we're just going to return a dictionary. That's it. That's all we're going to return. We're not going to convert anything to a class or anything like that. We're just going to return the dictionary, be done with it. And now that means we're going to have to go back to the controller here. I'm sorry, not this file. Let me save this here so I don't forget. We're going to go back here, and we're going to need to, well, first of all, oops. Sorry, move this out of the way. There we go. Dot, what was it called again? Dot, grab one team. Oh, wait a minute. Did I not? Let's check that again. What did I call this? Oh, I didn't change this. Whoops. Grab one team AJAX. There we go. That's better. Okay. So grab one team AJAX. Now we need a data dictionary, however, and that's going to be the ID of the team. And so that's going to be from the form. So this is still request.form here. And then in that page, we have this select option called team ID. So we have to match that here. So that's what we're sending to the form here. And just pass the data dictionary in here. And now that we have this, we're going to return a JSON response back. So this is going to be one team here. And now before we do anything to HTML though, we're going to go ahead and just test this out. So I'm going to refresh. Oops, let me refresh this first. Here we go. Now let me select the team, click this, and there we go here. Wait a minute, why did that refresh though? It should not have refreshed, however. Well, that's unfortunate. We're sorry. Why did this automatically refresh though? Why did that happen? That should not have happened. Grab one team, Get one team. Weird. It should not automatically refresh though. So that's a little weird. Why is that happening? That's a little unfortunate. Anybody have any ideas why it keeps automatically refreshing? Kind of wanted to stop that. Let's see here. Let's go back to the form here. Find team. Do we have that here? Let's just check to see if there's something missing here. The form, you need a method. Well, you don't need it actually here because you see in no example here we have a form tag here. So we don't really need that. We don't need to specify a method type inside this form because we're going to do it through this fetch API method here. So you don't need to do method equals post here because when you click submit, this activates, which triggers this function you've defined in here, which goes here, and this is the event where, and this is what will actually run here. So this is supposed to stop the form from going to another route. So I'm wondering if that's not working here. Let's see. Whoops, not here. Interesting. Let me try something here. Let me check something here because that should not have sent us to another, should not refresh the entire page. I'm trying to stop it from doing that. So why is that happening? Interesting here. Why is that happening here? Let me pull up some more code from previous lecture just quickly. And maybe there's something there that we forgot here. Interesting. Let's see. Which file was it? Let me check this example here. Do we need to add listener event here maybe? Well, let me try something here. Let's try adding this little event here. And let's see what this does. I don't know if this is going to work, however, but close that. There we go. Let's try adding this event here, which basically will have this code run the moment the page loads. Let's see if this fixes it. I don't know if it will or not, but let's see. Okay. Let's try this. Uh-oh. That didn't work. Grab one team is undefined, did I? I'm wondering if that works okay. But then we get an error message there, however. That's weird. Grab one team. Try to find that here. For all we know, it could be that something didn't save correctly, for all we know. Wouldn't that be funny if that was what it was? On submit, let me just check here. Wait a minute, why did that not show up here? Usually it'll say, yeah, why is that not showing up here? Usually it's supposed to be on submit. Now, why is that not working here? What is going on here? Let's see, on submit equal, did I not type that correctly? Maybe I didn't type it correctly. On submit equals, no, I did. Now let's copy it over correctly. Yeah, weird. I don't think it'll be a quotation issue. We defined it here, you know? Interesting. Weird. Why is that not working? Let me just refresh this again. We pass it on the HTML side here. Yeah, so the way, that's a good question. Does it have to be an event? That's a good question, Carlos. And not sure, Robert. Let me see here. Let me try something new here. Let me try event. See if this helps. Same issue. You see this little error message pop up on the right for just a split second. It says grab one team not defined. So why is that happening? Oops, I better just close this thing. There we go. Close this. Let's see here. Weird. Maybe, but I mean, it shouldn't matter here, honestly. It shouldn't matter what you name this, because you know how if you call a function, you know, you don't have to match whatever the name of the variables you pass in with whatever you name the parameter when you define the function. It shouldn't matter. I mean, I can try it. If I change this here, however, I gotta change this here. So, oh, whoops, sorry. There we go. There we go. Yeah, let's see here. Oops, did I save that though? Okay, let me save this. Let me just make sure everything's saved. For all I know, it could be something's not saved correctly. That could be all it is. Something might not be saving at all. Wouldn't that be funny if that was what it was? Weird. I'm kind of baffled here. We shouldn't have to call the function though. Shouldn't have to make a call to the function though. Let me just check something here. Let me use an old example here. I know I got this to work in the past, but then why is this not working? Basically doing the same thing here with function E. The arrow function I don't think should matter. I mean, I can change it back to the old-fashioned function, see if that would make a difference, but I don't think it should though. Let me get rid of this. Other than unfortunate, I was hoping to have a little demonstration for you folks to to get this working here, because my intention was to have it show the team information down here, and then I could show you how to do like an edit, how to edit and delete as well, all on the same page here. So that's a little unfortunate. I was hoping to have that going here. Okay, and what's this error? Well, this is interesting here. Yeah, that's good news. So could have been, yeah, that's good news. So at least that's a good relief here. So at least we're getting to here. Maybe for all we know, something's wrong here. Maybe it's just something else now with the HTML or something. I don't know. Let's see. Find team. Let me do a console.log, and because we're in JavaScript, we have to do console.log, not. Oh wait, what's this? Oh, there's an error message down here, so it's not from here actually. It says here, type error, grab one team AJAX is missing one required positional argument data, which means I think we forgot something. Whoops. Where is it? Delete team, data. Oh, can anybody see what's wrong here in this method? Can anybody see what's missing? What did we forget in this? What did we forget in this method versus these two methods? And yep, class method. That's it. Yeah, so we forgot the class method here. Whoops. So that was on the back end. So if you get this little 500 there, that usually means something went wrong on the back end somewhere. And that's exactly what happened here. Oops. Shall we try that again? That's much better, isn't it? Yay. Oh, sorry that took so long to get that working. So there you go. Now we have the information about the team loaded up here. So I guess I'm not sure if it's a scoping issue or something with why this worked versus this. You know, with using the arrow function, it didn't work. So that's weird. That is very subtle. Very subtle. Interesting. Well, anyway, at least now it works. So there you go. Okay, so now that we have this working here, we can basically do the same thing we've done here and answer that question from Monday. This is how you do a multi-line quote. You could just use the back tick mark, switch it to the left of the one key, and then you just enter this in multiple lines like this. So what we're going to do now here is we're going to do the same thing as before here. We're going to clear out all the stuff that's underneath here. So if I were to click this button here, you see all this data here? We're going to clear it out. That was all inside the that placeholder div here. We're going to take that div, clear all the data out, and we're going to basically replace it. So this is going to be exactly the same logic here. I'm going to comment these out because we don't need these. So we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to clear that out. So clear the div out. We're just going to reset it from scratch. And then we're going to do basically the same thing as before here. We're going to have, maybe we'll do like a set of P tags or H tags or whatever you want here. That's up to you. But yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do here. Let's create an H1 tag. So title tag equals document.createElement. We'll just create an H1 tag here. And then maybe inside the tag, we'll do inner text here. So inner text is the text that's between the tags. So when you refer to inner text, that would be this thing here, for example. If you look between the A tags, well, this thing here, that would be the inner text. Same thing here. We're just gonna, and then here, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take the data and we're gonna put the name of the city and the name of the team itself. So for example, by pulling Raiders, we're gonna pick city and name here. So let's go ahead and put that in here now. And I'll add spaces, of course. Data of name, yes. So this will put, and then we're going to, so that's the A1 tag, and then we'll just add a series of other tags here. You can do this as you see fit here at this point. So you know what I'm gonna do here? I'm gonna just save us some time here, just say team info here equals, I'm just gonna do the multi-line thing here. So let's just do this. Yeah, let me think here. Is this the best way I want to do this though? You know what I'm going to do actually? I'll tell you what. Let me just do this all in one fell swoop here. Whoops. I'll just do this. H1. And I'm going to put the name. So in JavaScript, remember how in Python you use the F string and then you use the curly braces to put the value of a variable in? In JavaScript, you have to use a $sign between and then the curly braces, and then you have to use the back tick mark. So this is basically doing the same thing here. So this is going to be data of city here, and then data of name. We'll close out here. We'll put a P tag here, and then we'll just say, what else do we want to display here? Anything else we'd like to display? Oh, stadium name. Why not? ID and stadium name. Sure, that sounds good enough. Okay, let's put that in here now. So team number, data ID, and then I'll just say, I'll just put this in here. Then we'll just add this here and say stadium name here, data of stadium name. We'll close the P tag here. So that closes this off, and then we'll just do placeholder div dot inner text, I guess. Or I think inner text, yeah, equals team info. Well, shall we try this out and see if it works? Let's find out. Let's just refresh this. Let's click, let's select the Panthers. Okay, that's probably not what we intended, but at least it's in there, you know. I think we actually want inner HTML here, not inner text here. Let me change that. Let's see if this works, I hope. Let's find out. Refresh. That's better. Cool, huh? Now we can do the same thing here. We can go to Buccaneers. Boom, there they are. Carolina Panthers, there they are. Really neat, huh? Cool, eh? So now you can just select teams and show all on one page. Very nice, huh? Does anybody have any questions on how we did that? Okay, then very well. So now let's go ahead and let's go ahead and add the option to edit or delete the team. So let's go ahead and add this in here. Again, we're going to do it all on the same page here. So what we can do here is we can add a couple buttons here. So maybe we'll have a button here for edit, maybe a button here for delete. So let's go ahead and add those buttons now. So let's go ahead and let's go back to the HTML here. And we're gonna basically, let me see here. Let me take this, I'm just gonna copy this text here. And I'm gonna add it on here. So I'm gonna do this. Let me think here. Edit, I'm gonna do let edit button equals, let me do this here. There we go. So I have a let here also. So let's see. Button, let's say on click. I'm going to change this to a new function. We're going to define in a minute here. Edit team, show page, I guess. I know that's not the best way to name it, but that's all right. But this is going to be the event that's going to actually edit the team. So I'm going to call this thing edit it, and I'm going to put inside here the name of the team here. So city, which, you know, let me actually split this up here. That's better. So inside here, we'll put edit data city, and I'm going to copy this here. There we go. So we have a button there, and then we're going to add another button here to this. So I'm going to add space here, and I'm going to add another button here, and then this is going to be, oh, let me change this to this. That's just bootstrap stuff. Don't worry about that. Danger. Delete team. Okay, and then we're just going to add that to the HTML. We're going to just keep add on to it. You know, HTML. We'll just add this edit. I mean, I should probably define two buttons here. So edit and edit view buttons, I guess. Edit view buttons. Add delete, I should say. So add delete. Change this to delete. There we go. All right, let's try that again here. I can get this loaded. There we go. Okay, let's select the team, and here are our buttons here where we can edit the team or delete the team. We haven't added that functionality yet, but we're going to go ahead and do that right now. We're going to go ahead and start off by, do you have a preference, folks? Shall we focus on edit or delete? Which one you want to do first? Okay, so let's see if anybody else has an opinion here. Otherwise, I'll probably flip a coin. But yeah, delete, you're right, is going to be faster. I'll leave it up to you folks. If nobody else has an opinion, we'll just go to delete next, and then we'll focus on the edit feature. Okay, cool. Let's go with delete first. That's faster. So you remember how you've learned about get and post requests so far, right? Well, there's actually multiple types of HTTP request methods, and two other request methods you're going to see if you move on to Java and learn, and they're good to know even if you're not taking those stacks, are called the put and delete methods here. So unfortunately, HTML as it is does not support a delete request or put request by itself. You can only specify in the HTML tags if the method is a get request, which is the default, or a post request, which is why we always have to put method equals post in most of our cases, you know. But there's additional required HTTP request methods we can use. And these two you see are what we're going to wind up using here. So you might be wondering, well, how do we use those? Unfortunately, Jinja, which is the templating engine that you use in HTML, so you know how we have to use the curly braces to put values in, or these other tags like this for loops and if statements and so on. Unfortunately, Jinja does not support other types of HTTP request methods other than post and get. So we have to use JavaScript for this, unfortunately. And there's really, unless you build out a fancy API that can handle put and delete requests here. But for now, we're going to go ahead and implement our own delete functionality here. So we're going to have to delete, we're going to define this function now. Let me clear this out here. So I'm not using the arrow functions now, learn my lesson for the moment. Okay, so when we click that link, we're going to delete the team from the database. So you might be wondering, well, how in the world do we do that? Well, you see this fetch thing again? We're going to define a route that's going to delete the team from the database, but here's the catch now. You see this method here? We're not going to use get or post. We're going to use delete here. So let me go ahead and copy this out, copy this here. I'm just going to put this in, and we're going to change this to delete. So this is a delete request, and we're going to have to implement a route for this in a bit. And we'll worry about that soon enough here. But that's just a placeholder here. I just want to put something in there for now. Okay. So we need to know which team it is though. So there's a few ways we could do this here. One thing we could do here is we could let's see here, this form data here. See if why is that not working? Let me just type it out here. Form data. Oh, here we go. Okay, I was wondering if there's a way we can make it so we could send form data. I'm wondering if there's a way we can use this form data here to use like an object or a dictionary here. I wonder if there's a way to do it, or does it have to be an HTML element here? Because I don't want to have to send another post request, because I want to demonstrate the delete method here. So let's see here. Constructor here. Here we go. Form. AJAX. Currently empty. Oh, here we go. Here's one thing. We could just create a form, then we could just add a value. We could do that. Okay. We could just use a pen for that. Okay, we can do that then. See, this is the power of searching, folks. And so the power of searching documentation. So we're going to go ahead then, and we're going to create a variable here. So let new form. So I know we're not defining a form in the HTML. I realize that. But we're going to create this form data object here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to append something to this though. And what we're going to need is the ID of the team we're deleting. So remember how we need to when we call on that delete query on the back end in MySQL, we need an ID. So we need to grab the ID of the team here. And we already have this in this p tag. So, we probably should maybe put an ID here, ID here. And I realize this is probably not the most secure way to do this, honestly. I'm going to be honest, I will just level with you folks there. Actually, I know what we could do. I have an idea. I have a better idea. I wonder if we could just put the number of the team as an argument here. I know, that's what we'll do. So let's do this then. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this will work or not, but it's worth trying. Can we do that here? If not, I have another way to do this. So don't worry, I have a backup plan here. Let me see if this works here. ID. Console.log ID. I just want to test this. I'm going to comment this out temporarily just to test it and see if this even works here. I don't know if it will or not. I don't think it will, but it's worth trying. Let me just refresh this again. Okay. Buccaneers. Like this. Oh, it does work. Yeah, it does work. Cool. Now, realistically, what might be a more secure way of doing this is maybe we could use a session variable to save the current team we're looking at right now. So you know what, that might actually be a better option. Let's do that. Sorry to kind of just change my mind on you folks here, but I'm just trying to think of a good secure way to do this here. So I'm actually going to just get rid of that, even though it did work. And here's what we're going to do instead here. We're going to use a session variable to keep track of the current team we're looking at here. And a session is not the most secure thing, but it's definitely more secure than just flat out putting the ID of the grabbing the ID of the team from the HTML, you know. So let's go ahead and go back to the controller here. And I'm going to create a session variable. And in fact, I think I'm going to import that here. Yeah, I do. Okay. So what we're going to do now here is we're going to create a session variable here. And let's do it wherever we have the, where is it? This one. So we're going to create a session variable. So current team ID or whatever this is equals request.for. Well, I should. Well, yeah, that's fine. That's actually I'll do it after. I'll do it after this here. One team.id. There we go. And then we can just access this session variable when we call on the delete method here. So yeah, let's do that then. Okay, let's do that then. Okay, so now we have this here. Let me change this to delete team AJAX. And now what we're going to do here is when we're going to find this route here on the back end. Delete team. So here we wrote this as delete team AJAX. So that's the name of the route we're going to define here. But now here's where things change. You remember how this handled a post request here? We had just submit a delete request. So here, this has to be methods equals delete now because we submit a delete request here. Delete team AJAX here. And then it's basically going to be pretty much just mostly the same as we've done here for deleting the team. If I could find that route somewhere here. Where is it? See this route here where we delete a team. We're going to do something pretty much similar to this here. So going back up here, we'll just put this in here. But instead of this being an ID that was passed in here, we're going to use the session variable here. And then we're going to delete the team. And then we're going to return, we're just going to return a JSON response here and just maybe, and to say result equals team deleted or something like that. So this is like a key value pair we're going to put in here. Let's see here. So this should pretty much be the same. I think we don't need, and then once we're done with the team, we don't need that in session anymore. So we can just do a session.pop and we could just remove this because we don't need it anymore. So once we have deleted that team from the database, we delete that team ID from session, and then we have to basically go back here and just clear this team out, period. Now that's pretty fast actually. All we have to do is just reset that div, that placeholder div, just clear it out. That's fast. And so let's go ahead and go back here. And then here, what we're going to do here is we're going to take that div and we're just going to reset it, just like we've done here. And this way, we may as well start defining a function that does that for us. But anyway, so let's try that here. And let's see if this works, shall we? So let's go back here. And let me just add another team just as a placeholder. So let's go with let me go with a made up team here. So let's say Coding Dojo, Ninjas, Coding Dojo sitting, Coding Dojo Ninjas playing at Ninja Stadium. Why not? We'll add that team here. And now I'm going to select this team. Uh-oh. What's the problem here? Why did that not show up here? Okay, you got an error message. What's this? Oh, okay. One team.id. Let's see what this error message is. So it was in line 48. Oh, because this is a dictionary, you can't use a dot here. With a class, you use a dot, but if you use a dictionary, you have to use the square brackets. That was the mistake there. Now it tries again. Okay, there it is. And now let's click this delete button and see what happens. Uh-oh. What happened here? Let's see here. Let's see. It says oh, we don't need. No, actually, we don't need this anymore. Just get rid of this thing. I don't think we need that anymore. But let's try that again. Select, delete. Okay, so it looked like it worked for the most part. However, it's still listed here though. So let's just double check the database just to make sure that we did delete the team here. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let me open up localhost here and let me see here. Let's see here. Where is it here? Which one was it? Was it's a football team? That's this one, right? Okay. Let's just check the teams out. And there is no code industrial team. I guess I should have checked to make sure we added in the first place. But anyway, so we have a bit of another issue here, and it's that in this drop down we still have this team that shows up here. We don't want it showing up, do we? So we're going to have to find a way to reset that drop down. And so we're going to need to do that here. So I didn't think this was going to be this complicated here. So we are going to have to reset the teams here. So unfortunately, I think it turns out we are going to need to retrieve the data again for the teams. So let's go ahead and grab all the teams again here. So we need to grab the teams again to update the drop down menu. So we already did that. We already called that method somewhere here. Let's see. We basically did the same thing here. So let's just copy and paste this thing here, and then we're just going to put all teams in here, and that should be fine here. Yep. And then we kind of have to basically rebuild the drop-down menu. And so that was why I had to add an ID here. I'm sorry, an ID in this div, because now we're going to reset this entire thing here. So let's go ahead and reset this here. So let's go back here to the to here, and now we're going to reset the drop-down menu. So this is going to get a little annoying here, but there's not much you can do. So we need to grab this div here. So this is called listed teams here. So I'm just going to put this in here. I'm going to copy this part here and just change a couple things accordingly. Get rid of this, put this in here. This is going to be the teams div here, I'll call it. And now what we're going to need to do is we need to clear this out. And then we just have to build it back. So we're going to have to build this out again, which is, I know, a little annoying, but what can you do? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this, and wait, I gotta change this thing, teams div. Okay, so let's do this then. Let me think here. I know what we'll do here. A new team HTML string equals. Start by putting this. It might help if I put this in here. So we're going to start off with this, and then we're just going to add on to it. And then what we're going to do here is we have to loop through each team here. So for k equals 0, k is less than the number of teams we have. So that would be data.length here. So we go through the teams here, and then we just have to add to this string here. And then here we're going to basically add this thing here, but we're gonna make a couple of tweaks to this for this to work, of course. So we can't unfortunately use these Jinja templating tags here like this. So we're going to have to basically, let me just put these in here. We're going to use this. We're going to have to use whoops, I can't type. We're going to need these backtick marks so we can put values in ourselves. So here we're going to have data of ID. So data is going to return all the teams, if I could find it here. Where is it? Okay, it's going to grab all the teams and we're going to send it back. And so we're just going to do the same thing here. So this is going to be the ID of the team. This is going to be the city name. So this is going to be city. This part's going to be name. Here we go. And then once we've added all the teams, we have to add the, we have to close the select tag here. Okay, and now once we have that, now it's ready to go, and now we'll just go ahead and do teams div.inner HTML. I guess I probably didn't need this line after all, but that's okay. I just wanted to put that there just to make it clear. New team HTML string, and let's see what, shall we be ready for the moment of truth, folks? See if it works. Well, actually, let me actually create one more team, and then we'll test it. I'll create another coding dojo team here. Ninja arena. I know it's not an arena, but you get the idea. Okay, so let's just double check, make sure it's in the database here. So we're not gonna have time to test the edit feature here. I think this is plenty sufficient, but there's the team, Coding Dojo Ninjas. And now let's go back here, Coding Dojo Ninjas select, and then let's click this and let's see if it works. Uh-oh. I think it might have worked, but something went wrong though, as you can see. Well, it deleted it. That's a good start. But the teams themselves are not displaying correctly. And I think I know the answer to that. Why? I forgot about this variable K. Oops. Because we have to specify which item, which dictionary or object in this case. Let's try that. That would be my fault. Let's do that. Let's try that again. New team, the new newbies, and we'll just say that's in new stadium. Okay. Run this again. It's in there. Let's run this one more time. Whoops. Run one more time here. Select it. Click delete. And look at this. Look at the drop down. There is no note that team has disappeared. Yay. And it shows up correctly. And we'll run this one more time. Bye. And that team is gone. So this is how you can use AJAX to send other types of HTTP requests here. So the one I just demonstrate here is the delete request here. So you just have to basically use this fetch API, put your route in here, don't forget the localhost part, and then just mention the method name. So this is how you would delete the team here. And there you go. I wish we had time to go over the edit feature, but it'd be pretty similar for the most part. It'd be pretty similar logic in that you would have to basically, you have to have, you need a form, and then you just have to send the data back. But instead of doing a delete method, you're going to do a post method, you're going to do a put method for that. A put method is what you use to edit stuff, essentially. So unfortunately, I don't have time for that, but I'll tell you what I will do though. I'll build that code out for you folks, if that's okay. And then then I'll test it, and then you can just play around with it on your own. Sound reasonable? So yeah, I'll go ahead and build out the code for the edit feature here, and then you could play around with this on your own. I'll have all the code uploaded to GitHub later tonight, so that you can have fun with this. But again, as a reminder, I'm going to make this repo private by probably midday Friday. So if you want to copy this code, do it by then. But I'll have this definitely posted before the end of the day. And again, if any of you have any exams on grade, I'll have them graded tomorrow. Okay. So there you go. Does anybody have any final questions here? Okay, then I'd like to say thank you all so much for sticking around for as long as you have. Congratulations to everybody who passed the exam. We're moving on here, and condolences for those of you who unfortunately didn't make it. But look at it as an opportunity if you have to retake, to reload, to look at the material and think about where things went wrong. And remember, we're all here for you. We're all here to help one another, and you can even help your fellow students out. So. Yeah, again, thank you all so much for being great students, everybody. Please fill out the surveys whenever you, please fill out the survey when I send out tomorrow Friday, because I and everybody else value your feedback dearly, and we want to make sure we can improve the learning experience for y'all. We really value that very much. Again, I'm gonna miss you folks here. I'll be teaching Python again next time, so I'll be here. But thank you again, everybody, for all your hard work, everybody, truly. And I wish you all the best of luck moving forward. Have a great time wherever you're heading next, okay? And I hope to see you along the way. Good night, everybody.